How to consistently market, find, and attract high-quality patients looking for virtual/telehealth services. I also want to have processes in place that support them and keep them engaged in treatment plans that may take 3 to 6 months so that they don't fall off midway. Okay, great question. This is a symptomatic question. All right, a lot of the questions are symptomatic. This part of my job is to understand the deeper forces where these questions emerge from. I know this is a big claim, but it's just like how we look at the body, right? Like if somebody came in and they said, "Oh, I'm having night sweats," then we have to try to find the forces in the body that are giving rise to those kinds of symptoms. I'm looking at the situations in practice and in business and how we're approaching everything that gives rise to these kinds of questions, right? So if you're having trouble attracting new people, then that's a skill gap. But that may come from other areas of development. So one of the things I'll say here is that first off, okay, I want to get patients that want to do telehealth. Cool, you can do telehealth. We help here with that. That's fine. Eventually, you may decide that you don't want to do one-on-one calls for telehealth and you want to do more group programs. That's also fine, and I think very cool because you get time freedom. I'm not going to come here and be like, you can't use Zoom, you can't do telehealth, right? But what I will say is even aiming at telehealth is cool. It's like your next step, but just know there's steps beyond that too. And if you want to go to that level, we can start laying groundwork now that not only helps you get those telehealth people, but also sets you up for a very easy transition out of that into the next level, if that's what you choose. So the immediate goal might be more people on your telehealth schedule, but just keep in mind what you may be building later. You can be creating things that serve that as well. It can do double duty. So it's a little bit advanced, but something to consider because you're going to put in the energy to this thing. Anyway, you're doing the work. You might as well do it smart and build something that you can pivot into different models should you choose. And the models have increasingly higher levels of geographic and time freedom and less risk of litigation and licensing requirements and things like that. So there's the telehealth piece. Now, here's what I'll share as a perspective that helped me a lot with this is that, okay, how do I find these people that want telehealth? They don't want telehealth. Okay, let's just assume that, even though it's not 100% true, but let's use that as a useful belief. Nobody wants telehealth. Okay, telehealth is a method. It's a way to achieve a goal, right? Just like we could say nobody wants herbs, nobody wants acupuncture. It's not true. There are people who want the method, but we want to focus on folks who are more aligned to a goal or problem they're trying to solve because those are the people who are going to commit to a 3 to 6 month to 12 month to 2 year to 3 year plan of working with you, depending on what's going on. Right? Of course, I want to get people better as fast as possible, but the reality is sometimes with these cases, like I've had people, mold patients, holy shit. I mean, you're rebuilding their body after just a decade of mycotoxin poisoning, and it does take some time in some of these cases. So you got to be able to lay that out ahead of time. You got to be able to explain it. And people who are like, I'd like a consult, aren't necessarily going to be on board with getting their problem solved. So what I'd say to that is, I hear the rain, is put more emphasis on further upstream, higher leverage moving goals, which have to do with the things people want, the problems they have. The more you speak about that with articulation, compassion, presence, like be yourself, you can swear, you can do what, like I'm living proof. You can swear in social media for health things and still have people come and do long-term high ticket programs with you, right? If that's who you are, don't be shy about your little trash mouth here and there. But be yourself. Just make sure you don't suck, right? I mean, that's the caveat. Like, be yourself, but be a good version of yourself, and people will be drawn to you. They just will. And when they find out that you can help their problem, then the method is going to be up to you. What happens is you start to build this stuff up, whether you're doing paid, you can run ads. If you can run a good ad, you can get pressure coming in where people are like, hey, I want to know what's going on here with you. I think you can, there's something, I want to know what it is. And it's how you guide and direct that pressure through your systems, right? Because we're all building systems around our work all the time. Most of it's unintentional. Most of it's not leveraged. So we can make it intentional. We can make systems around attraction, conversion, selling, even our delivery of our services can be systematized without losing the humanity. But we can also take it a step further and make them fractal. People ask, oh, Jeremy, what's fractal systems? Sounds real sexy and cool, right? But like, what is it? Well, one way to look at it, there's a couple things about it, but one of the key things is that you build systems around these different parts of your practice or parts of your business. And if you do it right, whenever you improve one of them, you're improving the whole thing, just like a fractal. How the piece, right, like a tree branch, so the little pieces are connected to the whole. It's holographic. So when I do something to make my attraction better, it automatically helps my product delivery or my sales process or whatever. The whole thing moves as a unit. This is very intentional. You've got to know how to architect this stuff. There's a lot behind the surface that you got to understand, but it can be done, right? And so what happens is you start to make some noise, whether it's organic, like you're I don't know, on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever you're doing, making your Twitter, even X, right? You can be making posts on there and getting attention, and eventually people are going to start to push into your world, and it may not take that long at all. And maybe even within a month, all of a sudden people are coming in because you've been consistent, and they're like, holy shit, who is this person? Where have you been? I've had this problem for 10 years. Where have you been? Right? And there's going to be pressure. Now, how you direct that pressure? Do they get on a call with you? Do they fill out an application? Do they join a group? Do they go on your email list? Do they download your lead magnet, your ebook, right? All those different options will change the results of your ecosystem and what eventually winds up happening. And you'll be filtering, whether you know it or not, by the systems you create, you'll be filtering for different types of people who want a method or who have a goal. It's really interesting. One of our summit members, we were talking at the last event about, she's got a good sized social media following, and if you're watching, you know who you are, right? But it's like all these people, she had an avenue where people could reach her schedule for a consult, and a lot would come, but they didn't go anywhere. They just wanted like the one call or something. So the way you structure that, you can get a lot of noise coming in, and you can make some money with that. You sure can. But it's not going to necessarily lend itself to a deeper, longer lasting treatment relationship where you're actually helping people. So the first step is start making noise, right? The second step is to realize that they don't really know the method that they want. It's up to you to guide them. So the method of engagement for conversion might be visit my website, or schedule now, book now, right? These kinds of things. Or maybe join my group. It may be check out my 6-week, what do they call those things? Those little crash courses, right? Something like that. My 6-week boot camp on releasing your myofascial pain, or whatever. Like these little things, you can do that, right? But that pressure coming in, you got to know how to direct that stuff. And if you direct them to a method that you choose, right? Like, okay, I'm doing telehealth, right? Then you will direct them to that, and you will get more telehealth people. But you want to make it about their goal and their problem, not about your telehealth services. 90% of it's about them and what they need and what you can offer, not so much like, the telehealth. That's not the main thing. It's just that's the bridge. That's the mechanism to make the connection, right? Later on, you may have a program, something like that, that's a little more in depth, a little more high ticket. But that's the general gist of it. Now, I want to get on social media, Jeremy. This sounds great. I'm a little shy about getting on camera, but shit, I'm going to do it, right? What do I say? Right? Well, two things. One, we've got extensive market research systems in this program that can take you from zero in a brand new niche. If you know nothing about anything they're doing, I'm going to arm you so that you'll become a fucking expert in like a week, right? If you really grind into it. And then from there you can build, so don't hold me to the week thing. Not everybody does the work that fast, but it can be done, right? You can go from 0 to 60 pretty damn quick, and you'll know what to say, right? Because you're going to learn, because I teach you how to do all this stuff, how to find out what they actually need. There's deep psychology there, right? But you could show up to a brand new niche, know nothing about it, and enter the market on 2 very strong legs. The other thing is that you probably already have a wealth of information that you're sitting on and that you've devalued because you see it as common sense because it was part of your education, part of your training. I thought everybody knew this stuff. I thought everybody knows to drink ginger tea to warm up their belly, right? There's a lot of shit that you've commoditized your own self. People don't know this stuff, and it could really be helpful. So you can draw on whatever your starting level of clinical experience is, whatever your starting level of education, whatever your starting level of niche sophistication is. Like if you've been treating female marathon runners for the last 10 years and you want to do something online with them, you're going to know that niche pretty well. And it's going to be a matter of refining and pulling out and articulating what you've already learned in your subconscious, making it conscious so that you can now do things with it. So there's a lot of stuff you can do. You just got to be saying stuff that resonates, and there will be trial and error, right? Which is one of the reasons I don't recommend jumping straight into ads all the time, paid ads, because you can, if you've got the cash for it, it's fine because you're going to do paid market research as an accelerant, basically. Like you can go, okay, here's 2 types of messaging, or here's how I'm going to articulate this pain point that my niche has. I don't want to wait for organic stuff to kind of take effect. I want to run some ads and test it. You can, you're probably going to, throw $500 or $1,000, maybe $1,500, something like that, to kind of test a couple pieces of messaging, and then you've got a winner, and you can go off that. You can do it. You can speed it up for sure. I'm not going to say don't do it. Organic works really well too, because you can start to find, kind of naturally suss out some of this stuff. So both are viable. I teach both, and it's going to be a matter of preference, and depending on like what kind of budget, what kind of timeline you're on. For most of us though, most folks that come in, some don't have a niche, but a lot of people kind of know who they're working with. So there's some basics already, and then we just need to refine it and start to craft actual like talking points, figure out what to say, and then actually do the damn work. Like set up the tripod, get the camera, turn it on, and start. And don't be shy about that, because you need to put yourself out there. If you have information that can change somebody's life, and you want to make a business around that, you owe it to them to at least let them know you exist, right? And that's what a lot of this stuff is. So get over the camera shyness and whatever else. If you're really camera shy, really, really, really camera shy, right? I don't want to hear any excuses, because you can write. You can write a blog, you can write articles, you can write tweets, you can do all this stuff without talking on camera at all. It can be done. There's some 7-8 figure businesses of people who don't even really barely show their face on anything, right? So the excuses will come if you let them come. But essentially, we have technical solutions for all this stuff. So where do the people come from? Well, they're out there. It's like asking a fisherman, like, well, but where are the fish going to come from? They're fucking in the ocean, right? You got to go out there with the right equipment and go to the right place at the right time, and they're there. That's where it is. So ultimately, as all these pieces kind of come together, something emerges that's greater than the sum of its parts. And that's when the fractal systems really start humming, and that's when this whole paracosm thing takes on a life of its own. All right, hope that helps. Get to work.